Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you guys doing? Good to see you here at the end of a win. Thank God for that, because obviously, yes, this could have gone pear-shaped. And at halftime, I think there was a lot of people hoping that it did go pear-shaped, hoping that it would go pear-shaped at halftime. But I'm very, very glad to see the team turn it around in the second half. And so I want to talk through the performance a little bit, talk through some of the observations, talk about Amram, talk about the big picture and all of that. And see what we've got here, because once again, we got to keep a level head on everything. Got to keep a level head on everything, because the truth of the matter is, we did our job. We did what we were supposed to, but we also did it quite well. I think it was the second highest expected goals any team has accumulated in the league this season. And certainly it was a good win against them. So there was good things with that. But I do want to talk through it a little bit, right? Because at the end of the day, it could have gone the wrong way. But let's really break down what happened here. And if you look at it by the stats, by the way, it becomes very, very clear. One of the things that I will say about this as well is that it should have been a lot more, quite honestly. It should have been significantly more. But like, United probably should have been 2 or 3 goals up in that first half. They should have been 2 or 3 goals up. And it's very, 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 very convenient, the way that narratives go and things like that. But that is this team. That's the point we've talked about many, many times. Okay. This is this team. This is the team. We should have won early on. Dallo was through in on net, one-on-one, 12, 15 minutes into this game, misses a chance. The penalty, by the way, in the second half, the first one was more egregious than that. We should have had that call. Clear penalty. We played like crap after we scored again. It was a good goal. Well, it was not a good goal. The goal itself was actually horrific, right? But it was a good goal in that it was good that we got it. But after going 1-1, after going 1-0, they once again turned it down. They turned the energy levels down. The intensity dropped off. They started playing at a walking pace again. And it happens every single game. It happens every single time. And it's going to keep happening, And a huge part of it is Casemiro. It is. Like I've said in recent games, I would give some credit to Bruno for turning up in some important moments, like second half of Palace, right? He turned up better, did better. I think against West Ham, he was poor. Once again, against Wolves, second half, Bruno was on top of his game. Even though he scored in the first half, I don't think he was great in the first half. Second half, he was on top of his game. A huge part of it, though, is Casemiro. Like, I was getting furious during the watch along where I was watching before they scored. I was watching him, and I was looking at these moments where the ball was bouncing around the box, and I'm watching it go for a header, and I'm watching Casemiro stand there. Watching Shaw like fight one-on-one with somebody, wrestling, fighting, just stand there. Ball watching. It's the same thing I pointed out in the tactics at the end of it, of last game, in the tactics show the next day. He does it every game. He'll just stand there. Ball watching. Blows my mind. Honestly. I was baffling to me to see it. And I'm very glad, of course, that Cubby got on for him. But he's got to see this, Ruben does, and fix that, because it kills me. It kills me, man. It's so destroying. You can kind of see this in the stats a little bit, just in terms of like the story of the game. I don't want to start the thing off with too much negativity on all of this, but let me show like yeah, let's go back to here and see this last 15 minutes. You can see right after the goal we were okay, but the last like 10 minutes of the half, it's the same thing. They just stand there, just standing there watching. But then we turned it up again and went and got our goals, you know? We went and got our goals. And I'll tell you what's funny, all right? Before we dive into the stats, and I'll get to all these donations, thank you. I promise I will read all of these out, okay? I will read all of these out. You know, like I said, when we win, it doesn't mean we're amazing. And when we lose, it doesn't mean we're bad. But I really do find it really, really sad for a lot of fans that they only seem to want to be around when we're losing. I find it really, really sad that at, you know, the way that things go. And I'm going to keep playing into this, much as it bothers people and irritates people, because it's what happens. We concede, and it's Amram gave them a goal. You know what tweet I have not seen? That Amram scored 4 goals today. Not once has anybody said, everybody was saying Amram gave Wolves their first goal in a month. Not one of them said Amram has scored 4 goals, right? It's like, it's stupid, man. Like the things we say are stupid. And it becomes so clearly like, it becomes so clearly unobjective, biased, and dumb. It is a shared responsibility between players and manager when we lose and when we win at all times. And they are responsible for different things, different parts of the game. And that's where we are. In the first half, you know, we used to, when people didn't have this massive fucking agenda-driven decision-making where they have to put themselves into camps all the time. In the past, it used to be, well, Amram coached a 6-0 win. Because he did. The team was set up to win dramatically. The team was set up to win. It created the chances to be well ahead of that game in the first half. We've seen it before. But at the same time, as a manager, if your team isn't performing, hopefully you can do something at halftime to wake them up a bit. That's what he did, and turned it around, and the second half was fantastic. It was fantastic in that respect. The performance turned around, the finishing turned around, the intensity turned around, the energy turned around. Everything got better in that second half. We saw that against Palace as well. These should be things that give credit, but they won't. People don't, I'm convinced people don't want us to be successful now. And it's kind of sad to see. It's kind of sad to see. This was a good game. This was a good game. It was a good game. It could have gone bad, but it didn't. It was a good game. And it could have been better. It could have been better. But it was a very, very good game. Going through the players and the performances themselves, you know, let's look at the stats. 64% possession. Look, for weeks it was, oh, we have more of the ball, therefore we're gonna lose. You know what I mean? That was the stat for some time. Well, that didn't happen. So clearly, you know, that's changed. I'm happy to hear that. Sorry, crazy. Anyway, you know, we got all these stats. When I say fantastic, we'll get back to that in a second, okay? Because I want to explain what exactly happened, all right? But look, 27 shots in this game, 7 big chances, 4 expected goals, 64% ball possession. I'll take that. Okay. It's hard to do much better than that in terms of performance, right? If we look at the team today, I want to say one thing and another thing where Mr. Amram won't get any credit, and he doesn't need me to give it to him. Aiden Heaven, by the way, is a young player. In case anyone forgot, Aiden Heaven is a young player. I don't know how old Aiden Heaven is. How old is Aiden Heaven? Aiden Heaven is 19 years old. He's just turned 19 in September. He had a rough start last game. He picked him again this game and gave him another chance, and he performed very well. I told you earlier this week, this whole narrative that's spinning out of control, doesn't like youth, this, that, and the other thing. It's not the point. He picked a good player because he wanted to give him a chance, right? Everybody, it was like, we need to play, we played Aiden Heaven. He picked a young player, gave him another chance, and he performed, and he did great. And he did great. And he hasn't played a lot this year, Aiden Heaven. And now he gets his performances. He had a rough game. He played him again. He succeeded. I thought Heaven was really good. And I'll tell you what I really liked about Heaven, because forget Amram for a second. To put the full praise on Aiden Heaven is look at his passing between the lines. He made some really, 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 really good passes between the lines. In fact, look at this shit. Aiden Heaven had a 100% success rate on his passes. A 100% success rate on his passes. And he was passing forward. And he was passing through the lines. And he was being brave with the ball. Excellently done by Aiden Heaven. Really, really happy for him. Great mentality to turn it around from the last game, which was rough. He did exceptionally well. Good job, right? So very, very happy with that. I did not actually realize he had 100% success with his passes. The dribbles were good. Lost the ball. This is insane. All right. Aiden Heaven had 49 touches, and made 36 passes, and he turned the ball over one time the entire game. Once. That is actually incredibly impressive from the young kid. Incredibly impressive from the young kid. 49 touches, 36 passes. He turned it over once. One possession lost. I did not actually realize it was that good. Did not at all. Really, really impressive from Aiden Heaven. Very, very happy with that. Luke Shaw, I thought, was once again one of our best players. His aggression won us the second goal to get us back ahead. That was good. Good to see. Not his best game, but he was aggressive again. Dallo had another good game. He's been growing into it. Aside from bottling the one-on-one early with the keeper, Dallo had a good game, I thought, as well. Mason Mount, especially later on, as he grew into the game, just got better and better. Really good performance from him. Very, very happy with him. I think Cunha had a rough game. I think Cunha was not terrible, but the final ball was not good. But I will say this for Cunha. He made the run through the lines 20 times. And he received 0 passes. That's got to be a bit frustrating. We were better as a team with Cunha. We were better as a team with Cunha. But, man, they've got to pass him the ball through the lines, man. They've got to pass him the ball through the lines. He made that run so many times to run through the lines for a cutback and stuff. Did not pass him the ball. I thought Mbumo was poor today. I think he had a rough one. But he scored a goal. I mean, what was the goal again that he scored? Right, the tap in on the crossover, on the low cross. but he wasn't good today. He wasn't good today. He wasn't good today. But he scored. Continue to work hard. He looks, I don't know, he looks like he's carrying a little bit of slowness. Some of the dribbling, some of the running, not as quick, not as efficient, not as bright as usual from Mbumo, but fair play. He's allowed to turn down sometimes. I don't think Ahmad was nearly as bad as people have been saying. A lot of times in the first half, he was killing Wolves players. It's just we're struggling with the final ball. We're struggling with the final ball from Ahmad there, because I thought he was actually doing really well at carving up Wolves. His dribbling, the press, the way he was playing through the press, a lot of his actions were good until the final third for Ahmad. I don't think he was, as soon as he made to the box, yes, but before that, he was still very, very good, and that's why I think what Ahmad gives you. Like, if you watch his game and go back to it, a lot of stuff he does earlier on in the game was good, to get us where we needed to be, to get where we need to find the spaces, but the final ball just wasn't there. The crosses, the low crosses, the decisions, the shots, not so great. That being said, should have drawn a penalty in the first half. I think it was his shot. Maybe it was him or Mbumo. I thought Mazraoui was very good again. I think he really helps us get up the pitch. I think he does better. Beating the press, things like that, was good. Casemiro, I don't know, man. I said it at the beginning. Look at this. 71% passing in your own half for a number 6. For your defensive midfielder, this is diabolical. Diabolical. 11 possessions lost, 0 successful dribbles, poor passing, 1 shot. I don't know where that one went. I don't know, man. I 0 tackles completed. Another game with your number 6 with 0 tackles. When we conceded, I'm not saying it was him, but it was. If you watch it, the whole sequence again, it's just he doesn't influence the game right now. Kobe came on for a bit. I thought did well when he came on. I thought Kobe did well when he came on. Didn't have a load of stuff to do, but I thought he did well coming on. The rest of them, obviously not a ton of minutes. I thought Lenny was decent when he came on. 4 out of 5 duels won. That's good. Bruno, I thought had an okay first half and a great second half. A much, much better second half from him. Yeah. Much better. Like when he got the goal, when Bruno got the goal, I was like, obviously it was a terrible goal, right? But it was like, okay, fair enough. He gets the goal. He was playing kind of crap up to that point. The second half, though, very, very good. Very, very good. Just a really, really good second half. It is what it is. The thing with Bruno is, and I'm not trying to discredit him here. I'm not. When he plays well, he's really, really good. We know that. It's how often does he play well? That's the question. Okay. That's the question. In terms of the standings, and then I'm going to get to all these donations. So thank you for that. Level up points with Chelsea. 1 point off of 4th. 5 points off 3rd. 6 points off 2nd. 8 points off the top. If you had asked last season, we would have all taken this. We're a missed penalty from being in 4th. We're some stupid performances from being up in the table. It is what it is, man. If you look at goals scored, only City and Arsenal have scored more than us. Happy with that. I see, whenever it's, before the game with Wolves, it's Wolves, they're going to hand us our first loss of the season, sack Aaron because we're nervous about playing Wolves. We beat them and it doesn't count, right? But, look, Aston Villa, it was 1-0. We did our job. That's the point. Chelsea, good performance for them. 3-0. There's no other big teams in the recent history to look at, but I think that's the main point on it is, when we take this this game, when we take where we're at, what we did against Wolves is what we're supposed to do. And that's a good thing. If United did what we were supposed to do, if United did what they were supposed to do regularly, we'd be fine. That's the point. Doing what we are supposed to do, which is hammering a team, is what we want. We know we're not going to significantly overachieve with this squad. We know we're not. But we need to be able to do what we're supposed to. Let me get to these donations. I'm so frustrated Amram couldn't finish in the first half. Glad he finished his chances in the second. Yeah. It's only Wolves. Only City have scored 4 against them, and our XG of 4.1 was higher than any club has managed. We should have scored 7. I agree. What is up with the lethargy every time we score? I know. And that's what I was speaking on again, is that they turned it down, but fortunately, second half we came out a lot better again as well. Amram finally instructed the players to improve their finishing after halftime. His instruction before halftime was to be bad in front of goal should be questioned. Indeed, it should, shouldn't it? I don't know why he told them to miss. 4-1 win, but people are crying about Lacey-Mins, morons. Heaven won't start if De Ligt or Maguire was fit. Okay. Is he better than De Ligt? If he's not, then he shouldn't be starting. But he did start. Amram is treating Mainu the same way he's treating Dorgu. Dorgu and Mainu have immense talent, but he trusts Cass and Dalot again with a win. I don't agree with these choices, but I back Amram. Fair. And I think that's, Dorgu has more starts, obviously. But I think obviously Mainu's kind of competing with Bruno, except in situations where he feels he can take Casemiro off the pitch and give him those extra minutes. So it's like, it's a tougher competition, but I hear you on that. Right now, if you had to pick one January signing who's the most likely, boss, I'm going to flip around and say what I said earlier in the week, which is Baleba, and say maybe Baleba's is the one guy from summer we could slide the envelope of money over and say, take it. Take it. Take it. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe. Where's that fan that was talking? Yeah, I mean, I did a space last week and when someone was talking about how great Chelsea's build was, and I said, hold on a second. Come on now. Come on now with the Chelsea praise. I will always massively push back against this the whole fucking Chelsea shit. Chelsea have not accomplished anything. Maresca has 640 million spent, and Amorim is equaling his points. So last season, just to look at it from a progress standpoint, they'll slide the envelope back with Caicedo money. Well, then we got to walk away, but we got to try to do something here. Last season at this stage, United were in 13th with 9 points. This season, United have 19 points, excuse me. So United are 6. So we've improved by 7 positions and 6 points. We have an expected goal differential of +7. Non-penalty. We're 4th in the league on our non-penalty expected goals. 3rd in the league on expected points. 2nd in the league by a nut hair to City on expected goals created. But obviously defensively, we're significantly worse than City and Arsenal still. But we have a +10 expected goal margin if you include penalties. I don't know. What can you say, man? We're doing well. We are improving. We are improving over last year. We are improving over last year. And what else can you say? We're improving. You know, Yeah. Some people won't like to hear it, but we're improving. Are we good? No. But it's progress. It's progress. This is our highest. It's actually our highest goal differential in 3 seasons. But yeah, look, I explained this the other day, the way that I see this. Okay. And I'm going to do it again. You ready? All right. I'm going to give you guys a paint, I'm going to give you a paint thing here. Hold on one second. We're going to do some MS Paint really, really quick. We're going to get that MS Paint. We're going to get MS Paint going. I'm sorry it's so bright. I actually don't know how to make it dark. Hold on. It's way too, it's you know what? It's fine. Anyway, look, like I said, I explained this on a live this week. This is Ollie. We finished his last season like here. Under Ten Hag's first season in summer, we went up a little bit, right? Under his second season, big fall off by the end of his second season. And by the point when he left, we're like, here. This is where Amarim takes over. Since that time, we're like this. That's actually the truth. You may not like it. Yes, because where we are at right now is below where we were there. And it's around where the end of Ollie was. But that's where we are. You don't just start up here just because you change managers. This club had 18 months of strong decline prior to changing managers. Ignoring that is a fucking is weird. Ignoring that is crazy. That's the truth. We had 18 months. I'm talking about purely based on the table. I'm talking about purely based on the table. Purely based on the table. This is the truth. It just is. I'm not even being generous because we've climbed up to the 6th place, which is where we ended in the season Ollie got sacked. Right? I think we got 6th. And we're not even halfway into the season. That's the truth. It's an 18-month decline from the end of Ten Hag's first season. It's been a decline for a long, long time. We were not 8th. No, we weren't 8th when Ten Hag dipped. We were in 13th. And we were in 13th by this point last season. You know? So whether this continues, I don't know. But what a lot of people are doing is saying, well, we should be up here and we're here. Therefore, it's been bad. It's gotten worse. But that's just not true. That's just not true. Every manager starts where the last one finished. And that's what you judge them on. Because it's not a false position. This, when we got sacked, when Ten Hag got sacked, this is not a false position. That's the reality of where United are at that time. No, it's a 6-point improvement over last season. 6 points in a league where points are worth a lot. Not 3, 6. This was a real position. We were a 13th place club. Right now, we're in 6th. Where we finish this season is going to obviously determine this. That's why we have to wait it out. If we start to turn it back and start to decline, then you'll say, yeah, all right, not great. Not great. Okay. Yeah. The line. Yeah. I'm just talking about the line. No, the shit did not get worse when Amarim took over. We were in 14th. We ended in 15th. This is like a small down. I don't know if you can see it. Hold on. Let's see if you can see it. Look, it's got a small dip. You see that? We went down one position. My line's accurate. I know my stuff. What happens from here forward is very important. It's not all sweet, but the panic over everything and the disingenuous look at where this club actually is as a whole is just wrong. That's why I said when we win, we can't say everything's great. And when we lose, we can't say it's all shit. And our expectations have to be managed. It's not a straight line. Look, it goes down. You see that right there? It goes down. It goes down a tiny bit. This is where we are as a club. This is where we are as a team. We were in decline for a long time, and now it's on the way up. It's not good. It's not great, but it is better. It is better than last season by a large margin right now. Performance-wise, metrics-wise, everything-wise. It is, in fact, better. Doesn't mean it's good enough, but like I say, you got to look at things on the basis of where we started and where we're going. You know what I mean? Are we able to break down low blocks still? I don't know. We haven't in years, but we certainly played against a defensive team today and had the bulk of possession, and we did all right. So I'll take that. If you look at it, obviously by points, we're 6 better than last season. Let's see. By points, why is this one giving me? There we go. That's the right one. We're 6 better by points than last season. If you look at last season, we were at negative expected goal differential by our 15th game. Okay. Which was funny because I think after 9 games, when Ten Hag got sacked, it was also negative. So we were negative and now we're plus 10. That's a big change. A big change. We have improved in every single metric, whether people like it or not. Goals, defending, even though our defending is still sus, goal differential, points. It's all improving. Where we end up and how we're performing by the end of the season will tell us what we have to do next. At the end of the season, if they decide it's not good enough, it's not convincing, then change managers. And we will. Not a big deal. But right now would be stupid. Not just stupid, but pointless as well. Things are going the right direction, but it's also just the fact that who are you going to get mid-season? I think people baffle. I think people are very, very naive about the idea of going out and getting some, for sure, better manager mid-season as well. At the end of the season, let's see how we do. I talked about this earlier in the season as well, and I said, you know, in Arsenal's in Arteta's first year, okay, under Arsenal, his first full season under Arsenal, they were 15th by Christmas, but the second half of their season, they were like the 3rd or 4th best team in the league, from what I recall. They were 15th by Christmas, but the second half of the season, they were really good, right? Let me find the year, actually. Was it 2021 is what I want to say that it was. They were 15th by Christmas. And then, but by the end of the season, yeah, here we go. Let's look at this really quick. Here's Arsenal in Arteta's first year, 15th with 14 points by Christmas. 14 points in 14th games, right? However, what was very helpful for him in the long term is that from then on, they were 3rd in the league. They got 47 points out of their next 24 games, right? So it was a really big turnaround for Arteta in that year. We're not actually nearly as bad as Arteta was by Christmas. Not even close. We're well ahead of where they were at. Not saying it's going to go the same way. But my point is that let's see how we end up by the end of the year, because it's very, very clear that it is possible for a team to look like shit and then start to improve over the second half of the season. Let's improve over the second half of the season. Let's see if we do in terms of performance, in terms of consistency, in terms of our finishing position, and see where we end up. And then the second thing to that is let's buy some fucking players in January. All right. So it was interesting because it was interesting, because Andy Mitten had some quotes saying like um Andy Mitten had some quotes saying like, that obviously we have our long-term targets. We know this, right? Like Chelsea did under Poch and got sacked. They shouldn't have sacked Poch. They shouldn't have sacked Poch. I'll stand by that to this day. Sacking Poch was a mistake. They were better under Poch than they are presently under Maresca. I don't care about the Club World Cup. I really could not give a shit about the Club World Cup. Maresca's gotten more and more players and they've gone backwards. Poch had them heading in the right direction. He turned them around from 12th up. They were playing well. Maresca's lame. Maresca's lame to me. I think they made a mistake there. But essentially the concept is similar. But we need to recruit. So Andy Mitten was saying, look, we have our major targets, right? If we buy in January, we'd want to get somebody that we already want, right? We don't, and this is fair enough, true, right? We've talked about this a lot. We don't want to buy someone in January that we wouldn't want later. We got to buy somebody, we got to buy somebody that we want in the long term. They cannot be a panic. They cannot be anything else, right? They've got to just be. So weird. Why is that one not working? Oh, it's because he got blocked. Anyway, I think you guys booted him, but 4-1, most of chat, no idea, Amarim outperforming. Fair enough. I agree in a sense with that. We're on the different platforms, so it's not reading it out right now. But yeah, the super chats still work. But we got to get somebody that we'd want for a long time, right? As well. The issue is, as we know, the difficulty in obtaining said player. So even when there's like opportunities, it's going to be, do we really like them? Or are we just getting them because they're available? Obviously, we got to get players we really like. Now, we can't rule, they're not ruling out a signing, but again, it should be somebody that we really like, right? It should be somebody that we really want. And I think that in general, I think that in general, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. No doubt about it. It's going to be tough who we can actually get at this stage. I don't think it'll be easy. But I think they have to do it. That's the thing. Like, I wouldn't accept the idea that they can't get somebody just because, if it's not Anderson, if it's not Wharton, if it's not Baleba, I don't accept that we can't get anyone. I don't accept that we can't get anyone. I don't believe that aspect of it. We can get somebody. There's certainly players we can get. Be it, there's certainly players that we can get. I think that Baleba, there's a possibility there because of where he's at, where he's just performing. Buwadi just signed a new contract, and it seems like the concept is that he's going to stay until summer. That seems like it's the concept that he'll stay until summer. Ederson, we've obviously looked at. There was another one. Oh yeah, Tyler Adams. People won't like that one. Fair enough. I get it. Because do we want them in the long term? I don't know. But I like the three. I still think we need 3 midfielders in the long term. At least two. But they have to figure it out. I don't think it's acceptable to give us nothing because Andy Mitten also mentioned, said in there, he gave the example of like 5 years ago, results were bad. United got Bruno. And then look at how it turned it around. And I think that's completely fair because if I look at that, I go, well, hang on a second. Right? Bruno was such a great example that getting a good player makes a difference to a manager when they're struggling, and maybe some of it is personnel. I mean, Ollie was struggling at that time. That's interesting. Let me go look at something really quick. Ollie was struggling at that time. In fact, here's a crazy stat for you guys, okay? Here's a crazy one. Check this out, all right? In Solskjaer's first season, after 15 games, that's 14. It's going to be in the middle here, right? After 14 games, how do I get 15? When the hell was the 15th game? After 15 games, he was on 21 points only. It was pretty similar to this year, but even slightly worse, right? Then, obviously, we get Bruno towards the end of the season. COVID comes in, which is chaotic. But we were the third best team post Bruno with 32 points over those 15 games. So 21 points, 15 games, 32 points, 15 games. One player, right? So that's evidence, of course, to the idea that getting players, good players that upgrade your squad, that fit your system, make a difference. And he gave the example of that, he gave the example of that, Andy did, about that. And I say it's a really similar scenario to me. You've got a young manager here. It's messy. I don't know if people remember that first half of that season under Ollie, but it was shit. Like, kind of how we're talking about now, but genuinely worse. The performances were dire. We only showed up in a couple of big games. We had that week against Pep and Poch. I think it was Spurs and City or something like that. And we ended up like getting a win, or I don't remember what we got, but we turned it on in the big games, and we were awful in some of the other ones. It was awful pre-Bruno. It was terrible. So I find the situation very similar because you get a lot of talk about performance, a lot of this and that. And it was missing one key guy. And from that point on, Ollie Ball was cooking. Did well. I think was still limited, but it did really well for about 2 years. We got 2 top 4s in a row. Only manager that's done that. And it was because we signed a player. It was bad. I know Andreas Pereira, who I still think is the worst United player to ever consistently play for United and get starts, it was awful. That player made a massive difference. Poch left because he wanted. Yeah, he had a disagreement with the board. He wanted certain things. They didn't want to do it. Thank you for joining as a member, my friend. So yeah, it was what it was, and it was like, okay, we need more players now. We need that, and I think we're in a similar situation now. You have a younger manager. You've got certainly some concerns over the way we perform, the way that we play. There's a lot of things to look at, but we need a player just as bad as we did that summer under the 6-2 to Tottenham. It was. We need a player just as bad as we did that winter that we got Bruno. And I think it could be that much of a difference maker. One solid player coming in, I think we'll get Champions League. Without it, it's a coin toss. It's a coin toss. Like I've said every single week, I think we could be anywhere between 4th and 8th at any given time, and that's the reality of where we are. We don't need an outgoing. It's about availability. It's about, can we get somebody that we like that is a long-term target? Can we bring them in? If possible, we'll do it. If not, then we won't. So I think that we'll go for it. But I really think Baleba is one to think about there, because I think even with the struggles he's had, he's a significant upgrade on Casemiro. And I would add to that just, I don't know, something gives me the idea maybe he's not quite as untouchable. I think Brighton would be really silly to not sell him. One of the reasons I think he's not necessarily untouchable is because come summer, the big clubs are chasing other targets for the most part. Anderson's become the main target for Man City. Who's going for Baleba and going to pay 115 million? Bayern are never paying you 100 million. Bayern are never paying you 90 million. Bayern don't do that. Bayern aren't going to pay you that kind of money for a young player. They won't offer you more than 50, 60. Even that's a stretch. Who's going to pay Brighton for Baleba? Nobody. So maybe you put a little extra money on the table and you go get it done. That's the main thing. I don't know who else is available. Who else is possible? Wharton's impossible. Wharton's going to wait till summer, and then he's going to decide on, if we have Champions League. You know what I mean? He's going to decide then. His agent's essentially been confirming that recently. Go through 100 and some info on that side of it that I have, or at least some perspective I have on that side of it, is that I don't think we'll go for Wharton as our first midfield signing unless Bruno leaves. I don't think that we want Wharton as if we were to sign one midfielder, I don't think it'll be Wharton, and I don't think we want it to be Wharton. From what I understand, I think he will be more like, if we could get Baleba or Anderson, he could be this, let's say Anderson, right? You get Anderson. Then if Bruno leaves, you get Wharton and you pair them together. But I don't believe we'll go for Wharton. If there's a world where we only get one top midfielder, I don't think it'll be Wharton as the only one. Because we need something different in the team there to what he offers. If in that case, I think he's more like, it's just different if you think about the pairings in the midfield and all of that. But I think today's game, stay grounded, keep your feet on the ground. Stay grounded on what we are. We're okay. Don't go sinking every time we get a bad result. Don't go flying off the handle every time we get a good result. There is progress. There is progress. There is growth. There is improvement. Is it as good as we want it to be? No. Is it as good as it maybe can be, or we would expect it to be? It's an unknown. But I do think if you look at it by the league table, it's probably about right. We're probably about where we should be. And look, obviously the league table is tight. It's tight, no doubt about that. It is going to remain kind of tight. We need to string a couple of games together to be successful. We have to string a couple of wins together to build kind of a gap. We play a Bournemouth side next at home who have not won in 7 games. They're struggling. They're having a tough time. It's another game that we should be winning handily. They're in 13th right now, -3 goal differential, draw, loss, draw, loss, last 5. They're not playing well. They're playing poorly. But that's another one United need to show that they can win consistently. It's another one. So that's for us. We've got to string some together now. If we string, it is kind of funny because it feels as though if you look at next week, right? Check this out. Here's where it gets crazy. I hate doing this, but I have to, because it's not about taking the pressure off of the players. It's not about taking the pressure off of the players. I want them to be able to deal with the pressure. Oops, let me share this tab here. If you look at next week, right? Look, Palace and City play, which means if City win, which they probably will, we are almost guaranteed to move up the table with a win, at least one position in a game we're supposed to win. We're almost guaranteed to move up the table. Why did it do that, you bastard? Oh, there we go. All right. It just refreshed. That's fine. We're almost guaranteed to move up the table with a win because of the matchups. Because of that matchup right there. Liverpool play Brighton, so there's going to be points dropped just behind us. Chelsea play Everton as well. So you get these two teams playing each other and these two teams playing each other. This means that there's a serious opportunity to move up 2 positions in the table next week by beating a team we have to beat. And that's, to me, one of those things about where I go, one of the signs of progress I want to see that is, like I said, there's positive signs, but one of the real signs of progress for me would be improvement in these areas where I want to see over the second half of the season, and as we go further on, that we're winning more of the games we're supposed to win. More consistently, more regularly. So it's not about the table, but it's about winning the games we're supposed to. We need to, we still aren't at the point, even though we have progressed, we're not at the point where we win the games we're supposed to win yet. Where I'll feel better is when we start beating most of the teams below us. Then I don't care what happens to all the games above us, as long as we're not getting pumped every week. But we need to be really more consistent at winning against the bottom half. More consistent. And that will feel like the next step of progress, that we're consistently winning the games that we're supposed to win. And that Bournemouth is another one over there that can do that. And it's a chance for United to move up at the table. And look, in terms of how you measure progress and things like that, I don't know any other way. The table at the end of the day doesn't lie for the most part. The stats themselves, I mean, what else can we measure? We're second in expected goals. We're first in shots on target. We're winning penalties, which is nice. Big chances, where are we at? We're fourth in big chances, 1 behind Arsenal. Touches an opposition box, 4th in touches an opposition box. We are right now performing better than we were. If we take a look at last year, let's see, on expected goals, we were 12th, right? Okay. Shots on target, we were 12th. Okay. Big chances, we were money's on 12th. 12th. Touches an opposition box, 9th. We were bad. I don't know any other way to say to observe progression. How else can we observe progression? We were bad. We are better this year than we were last year. What else can you say about it? You know what I mean? What the hell's going on with that? All right. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That's it. I don't know how else to measure anything if it's not for that. Yeah, I would love to see us stop conceding so many crappy goals. We concede shit goals where it feels like we're completely unfocused, but I don't think that's going to change until we get better players. We're not combative enough. We're just not. We're not combative enough as a team. All right, let's get some speakers on here in just a second. And oops, wrong button. Yeah, I mean, this is the chart for the game. We did our job. That's all you can take away from it. We did our job. All right, let's do a few call-ins. I'm not going to do a ton today, but because these midweek games kill me a little bit, but let's do some call-ins. Here's the link, guys. Remember, I will prioritize you if you've got a video, because I've got my reasons. So I'll stick with that. But yeah, let's use the link. Come call in. Come join the chat and share your thoughts on the game. Share your thoughts on the game. All right. And guys, I'm gonna keep you guys to like 2-3 minutes each, okay? Like really 2 minutes. Bam, give your thoughts. So I can get through as many people as possible here. All right, Patrick, how you doing?
Hi.
You okay?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think it was a good game. I think the most thing, yeah, I'm okay. I think that the most thing is what is crucial. Bruno is very good when we are mostly on the opponent side.
Yes.
And I think the second case, Dalot is looking promising. I think it's a really second game when he's on the position where he should be,
Yeah.
and he's pushing up front. Yes,
Yeah, he's been more aggressive, right? In
yeah,
attacking. He's been getting forward, not dropping back. You can see positionally he seems like he's getting it more last few games where he's going forward and not dropping to the back line instantly. You have to give credit where it's due with Dallo because he's probably all of our most, criticized and memed players for the most of the year. And you have to give credit when he's starting to perform better, huh?
yeah, exactly. And I think the most important thing, we need someone for Casemiro. We need the legs in the middle because without that, Casemiro was poor.
Yeah,
It's
I
another
agree.
time. Yeah, it's Casemiro was poor. And I think that the last thing, the last topic, because I do not want to talk much here. Every time we score, we are slowing down. We are giving the ball away. It's after the second goal, we did the same. We were lucky that we scored the third one. But yeah, it was well
I agree.
deserved, and I'm very happy because it's very, very important also for the team that we put more goals than only one more than the opposition side. Yes, so
because I think you're right too. After one, we slowed down. After the second one, we also slowed down.
Exactly.
After the third one, it got better because then Wolves gave up. And that's one of the reasons you do want to pile multiple goals on, because when you get that 2-goal lead, that 3-goal lead, a lot of times the other team will often they give up. It helps your game to run the clock out to get where you need to be. If they're not like thinking they're within it at any point in time, you've got to kill their hope at the same time as doing that. So that ruthlessness would help. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, James.
Thanks,
Cheers
Ben.
from Poland. Have a nice day.
You too. All right, Pierre, how you doing?
Good. How are you, James?
Good. What's going on?
I wrote down a few points. I think Amar was good. I think the thing with him, and I'm not sure if it had to do with social media back in the day, because people got on him for shooting too much and not passing it. Now he seems to be doing the opposite. So he needs to get back to taking the shot.
Yeah, there's a few times I thought he had a line to run straight a goal and shoot, and he cut back and looked for the cross when it wasn't open.
Yep. That's it. And I think we need to. My interest is, what are we going to do in January? I think Semenyo is an opportunity. His release code, I'm pretty sure it has to be activated before 10th of Jan.
Yeah, that's what came out today, right? Yep.
Yeah, it'd be great timing because the FA Cup comes up on the 11th. And I think Edison from Atalanta, combative midfielder. I mean, the recoveries he averages a game, the tackles he averages a game. I know his agent's doing work in overtime because he seems to be linked with every major team. But an opportunity worth exploring.
He's a good player, and like we all kind of think we need a lot more than just one midfielder. So, get him and get someone else later. It's not a problem.
Exactly, because Ugarte is pretty much he'll be off sooner or later.
Yeah, you're probably gonna move him on. Yeah.
But that's it. I'll stick with that, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you, buddy. See you later.
See ya.
All right, Marcus, how you doing? You here?
I'm thrilled. It was a great game. 4 goals.
Yeah.
And people don't seem to realize we've only lost 4 games this year, right? So,
yeah,
I mean,
we have 1 loss in 9, is it? Or 9 games? We have 1 loss. That's
we are, I think in the last 11 games, we've lost 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was a little worried at first, to be honest with you. It seemed sloppy. They seemed nervous, and with the rain out there, I got these Grimsby vibes a little bit with people slipping around. But that's just me being, shell shocked from the last few years.
Aren't we all?
That first goal, come on, that was the funniest thing. I have no idea why Kuna didn't shoot. He was perfectly squared up. And
I don't know.
as soon as that happened, you kind of knew, okay, maybe we will win. But no, overall, you could definitely see the difference in the second half. That was incredible.
Yep.
And we could have scored more and more and more.
Yep.
But I will note that when Cobby came on, he was okay. He didn't tear it up, but he didn't screw up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He showed some, but I still think he's young, and I think people are overreacting to it. And I think he needs, he's still a kid, right? So don't worry about it.
Would you play him over Casemiro with what we're seeing?
Well, Casemiro,
I would take
yes.
okay and even decent over what we're seeing every week.
He is Casemiro. I have no idea when he lunges in for those passes or tries to do half the things he does. And then he'll come up with a moment of brilliance, and then he'll decide, oh, this is my job. I'm supposed to be covering this. It's just in and out. But anyway, overall, a good performance. I'm thrilled. Hopefully, it'll shut the Amber Mouters for a couple of days anyway. And we're moving. Okay. We're improving. I mean, that's it. We're improving. So, all right.
That's all we can do right now. All right, my friend. Right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, pal.
See ya. All right, Parth, I'll let you sort your if you can turn your camera on here if you're ready. Otherwise, I'll bring Aaron first, and then I'll give you a sec. All right, we'll go Parth and then Aaron. You'll be up. All right, buddy? I see you there. Don't worry, we'll get to you. How you doing, Parth?
Good. Sorry, man. I'm actually driving, so that's why I had it off. But
no, that's okay.
Somewhere, so yeah. Good game. I mean, I don't get overexcited nowadays after wins, just because,
we shouldn't.
We tend to fall off quite easily. But it was one of those games where scoring 4 will not give you the praise you should be getting, but not scoring 4 would have been a disaster. So one of those games, basically, you can't beat Wolves, attack, shit formation, 15 defenders and 11 players, so crap like that. But overall happy with the win. I felt like last game was terrible, to be honest with you, the way we conceded, the way we played. I mean, I think the players were embarrassed and they had to basically, get on like in the second half. Otherwise, it would have been brutal, but they still switch off. No matter who we are playing, they still switch off. Like that's something which I think Amorim can help sort out a bit. So that's something which needs to, improve moving forward.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Well, I think that about does it in that sense. Any other thoughts you've got?
That's fine. Like, let's see how we cope up with Bournemouth. That's more important. A better team. They will, we will have more possession there again. And let's see how that goes. I mean, it's up and down. It needs to be more steady. The thing is, you lose one game and you are 6 points off. Right now, we are in the mix. But the thing is, this team does not have the mentality to catch up if you're 6 points off, let's say top 5 or top 6.
We can't get too far behind.
That's what worries me. Exactly. If it was normal, even like, a bit of mental strength in there and some kind of a stable atmosphere in there in terms of playing atmosphere, I think 6 points is easily. Like City got like 10, 11 points to get the title. We don't have anything like that in us to get even to top 6 or Europa League places.
Agreed.
So that's
we have to be around it
when we
every
drop
week.
Points. Exactly. And we have to hope like a couple of teams, drop off here and there and we sneak that in. We need to buy a midfielder, man, in January, no matter what. I don't care. Like, obviously not someone terrible, but we need a midfielder more than we need an attacker. Just this season, moving forward, it's fine. We need to address a few more places, but yeah. Anyway, let's see what January brings. Not too
All right, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
Thanks.
All right, Aaron. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I've never been on an online website like this. Like, I'm a bit nervous, but I like your content and stuff.
No, you're all good. Don't worry about it. Speak your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, obviously it's a good game. Like, I'm from here, obviously, but obviously it's a good game.
Sure.
It's a good game. But like, I'm a bit worried about like Cunha in particular because I remember like last season before we bought him, like you brought up the stat like he's overperforming his XG, like one of the most in the league. So I hope he can actually pick up some form and actually perform in that. It's not like a small fish in a big pond type thing. Like
I hear you.
I just hope like moving on to Bournemouth and things like that. And I hope Amorim actually starts picking, like, in my opinion, his best team. Because you've been like clamoring at the midfield for like a long time now, even since like the last Europa League final, where you said, you hope he picks Agate in midfield. And he's been picking Casemiro and Bruno for a while in midfield, and they haven't been performing. But like the back of my mind, I just know he's not going to change it. So at that point, you just have to get better players if he doesn't rate Kobe.
Yeah, exactly that. And I agree with you there because I think there's maybe better midfield options. He obviously doesn't. So the only answer is more players, and then he'll change it. But we need more players anyways, you know. So we got to do that regardless. Yeah.
I just feel like they have to back him in January, even if like I don't rate him. I feel like they have to because they have a responsibility to do it.
And even if you change it at the end of the year, it doesn't matter. Do it in January. Do the business.
Yeah, I hope we can like land a believer like a Semenyo or a Guehi, something like that, to strengthen the squad.
For sure. Yep. All right, my friend. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Okay. Yeah. All right. OMP, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, man. It's like 1 a.m. in South Africa. It's crazy. Tired. I don't really catch these live often. But yeah, look, firstly, I mean, look, I know you've been getting a lot of shit this past couple of weeks or so.
That's
Just
okay.
from
It always
like
happens. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I think it's a bit crap because like I think everybody's so fixated on being right about something, yet we're all wrong about everything. Like we literally know nothing, right? Like unless you're literally getting information, understanding the ins and outs of like what's happening, like yeah, I think it's kind of shit. And you know, this I think the whole conversation around Player FC is quite convenient to unless it becomes about like your favorite player, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I think none of us ever thought we'd ever be in a position with Kobe because you kind of see him as this like, you know, sweet kid coming through the system, etc. But if there's issues behind the scenes, whether that be his attitude, his application, and a sense of entitlement or whatever because of whatever that's happened in the past, then that needs to be like rooted out. Like I think that's you know, these are things that we kind of we just need to be frank about. I don't think there's talent will never be good enough, right? Like you have to have everything else, which is what pisses me off about like Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes, because they were there. They were literally there in the toughest moments of when you had to prove yourself to a point then where then the manager backed them, got rid of the likes of Paul Ince and all of that to say, look, you kids have literally shown fight and I'm going to give you a chance. So it's like, that kind of shit just pisses me off because it's like, we don't know, but like, if there's clearly an application issue, which I think, and a mentality issue, like that's the biggest issue. Like, your talent will never just be good enough for you to just, you know, be at United. Like, it's so much more than that, man. So,
yes, agreed.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, as far as the game, it is what it is, you know. Casemiro, man, fuck it.
I really don't actually enjoy being so negative on certain players, but like I can't help but see it every single game now. I'm watching every loose ball. I'm watching every like duel in the middle, and I'm going,
yeah,
it looks so, like I'm not saying he's not trying, but it looks like he isn't even trying half the time because he's just too slow. I don't have the answer, and it feel I you know, especially after a win, I don't feel like it. Man, I was getting so mad for up to like minute 60 watching him like in there.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, kind of like, the whole casual show comment. Like, unless you're actually looking out for it, like you won't notice like the fake hard
Yes.
work thing that he does, like because it's
Yes.
actually atrocious. Like
Yes.
he'll literally just stand
Yep.
around like amongst danger, and then all
Yep.
of a sudden like shit progresses or whatever happens, and it's like,
Yep.
what happened?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
dude, you were right there. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what do you actually mean? So I don't know. I mean, I guess the unfortunate thing is at this point, like that's kind of where we are, and I think that says a lot. And I think the fact that we're continuing to play with Casemiro and Bruno, I think it's also a very clear message, despite how inconsistent and bad they've been. They're the guys that continuously stick out. And I think that has a lot to do with just that sense of maturity, application, commitment, whatever it is.
Yep.
And I think I think there's such bigger issues with this squad, man. Like I think our fan base genuinely think this is like FIFA, where it's just like you just get a bunch of players and they just become better some way somehow. And it's like, dude, like we're dealing with like years and years of just
Yes.
rotten
Exactly.
mentality, rotten application, rotten sense of entitlement. And these are huge cultural issues that we need to like root out. I don't know if that means Amarim, will be necessarily the successful guy, but I think he's almost like stubbornness like is very important in that part, because he's just not going to give in. Like he'll
Yep.
literally watch himself burn before he gives in. And I think that's where we got it wrong with Ten Hag. Like for whatever reason, when he kind of just switched and basically ended up coming up with the comments, I can't play Ajax football, all that kind of stuff. It gave the players an out, because it
Hmm.
was easy for them to just be like, "Hmm, well,
Well, I hear you. I'd hoped that by sticking with something, it would become really obvious to people what the issue is, because
yeah,
it exposes, by sticking with the same system, essentially, exposes even the same players, exposes the guys who can perform sometimes, the guys who can perform never, and the guys who are more consistent,
yeah,
or the ones who perform better on average. You would think that that would be the takeaway. I wish more people saw it that way, because I think it's really obvious. Instead it
mhm,
becomes, too many different discussions get into, everybody knows better about their systems and things, but the goal is not find a system that works for Casemiro. It's not find a system that works for Dallo. It's, are you good enough for this, for the way we want to play? Using those as examples of players, and then
yeah.
knowing, and you'll know by watching them if they are or they're not. That's the idea. It's the other way around. And I think it's really obvious who's sinking, who's swimming, and who's in the middle.
Mm.
At this point, I think you can make a really easy assessment of it. Whether the system and all that is good enough, I think is a question you can only really answer later, once you've sorted some of these things out, which you have to do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what's your take on the whole system thing? Because I just find it a bit like disrespectful that every single time, something doesn't go the way, it's almost like this formation thing. Like literally nobody said to Slot, hey man, are you gonna change your formation? Like 4-3-3 is obviously not working. Like, and I mean, there's an obvious clear difference between a system and a formation, right? Like I think people
No, but
really
I
get that
I hear
wrong.
your point. Nobody looks at Slot and says we've got to change.
Yeah, like
Why not try a 3 at the back, because the 4 at the back isn't working, or something. Nobody says things
yeah.
like that. Obviously, he won a title last year, but we can see that the longer it's gone on with changes to players, it's all imploding and everything. But it's the same at most clubs. I think it's because, to a large degree, it's because Amram is playing a system people aren't familiar with in England,
Mm,
especially. And I think that's probably 90% of the issue. Is it's
yeah.
definitely unusual. It's not ordinary. That doesn't make it good or bad. It just means it's different. And sometimes it's hard to look at it when things don't go or play out the way you traditionally will expect them to, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that is a part of it as well. I think, though, that it's the question to me becomes, if you add better players to the system, does the system continue to grow? Does the manager continue to grow? Do the results continue to grow? We've seen
Yeah.
some of it. We added some midfield. We added some forwards and a goalkeeper. We have the third most goals scored in the league. We're getting
Yeah.
better. it's not all the way convincing, but it's some evidence in that direction. If we add midfielders to it, does it improve? That's the question, and I think they have to try to answer that in January, and then it'll become clear for all of us, really.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yep.
But yeah, look, man, I won't take more of your time. Appreciate it. It's like, yeah, crazy, but keep going, man. Really love the work. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, buddy. See you later. Okay.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. All right, we'll do one more with Maddie here, and then we'll end it off for the night. How you doing, Maddie?
You're right, James.
Good to see you again. Yes.
Yeah, that was more enjoyable.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the second half. I remember watching a game earlier in the week, the weekend with Open League teams, and they were passing the ball around really short and crisp. And I watched for, we're doing this now at 3-1. We're a confidence team. The confidence was flowing. It wasn't great passes. What I liked about tonight was not the goal conceded, but how the reaction to that. Because we've seen it before when they start walking and it drifts away from them. Second half, I'm like, this is instantly better. They've got a reaction.
Like Palace, but a little better even, right?
Yeah, a bit better,
yeah.
What I watched with my friend, I was saying, like, we got the first goal, so get the second quickly.
Yeah.
Kill them. Didn't do it. Second half, they did. They got the second goal. Then they got the third, about 10 minutes later, I think it was.
Yeah. No, it was good. They were still going for it. Yeah. And then they got the fourth shortly after that.
Yeah. And that penalty, I don't know about that penalty. That handball, I
thought the first one was more of a penalty.
Yeah. I said it's one of those where next weekend you'll see it not given. You will. But I felt that was, I think, Mount's best game I think he's played for United. I mean, he was doing turns like, is that Mount? Oh, yeah, it is Mount. Doing that turn and then picking balls behind. But Wolves really did the thing you don't do against United, is play a high line. Because then you're going, this is going to be fun. Because Brewers like, this is kind of on for me, this.
Yeah, they really are bad, aren't they?
Yeah. But I thought they were, again, I think you know what he said in the preview after the game, he said, don't get too excited. But they did it.
Yeah.
They did it. Rather than not doing it, it's like 4-1. Aaron nailed it as well. He said, win this game, next one.
Yeah,
but they did what they had to do.
They did what they're supposed to do. That's all we can ask for right now. That's fine. It's good. Do what you're supposed to do. That's good.
And United in this weird situation now, also as fans as well, where you look at table and like with joint fifth, but oh my god, those two home games, where could we be? Like, what? How do you judge this? It's like, do you think this is where we should be? Or I think like, if we just got those fixture points somewhere, you're in Champions League spots. And I do agree that midfield, they've got to do something in January now. I think I said my thoughts were at the start of the season was if they're near Champions League in January, that might think, right, okay, guys, we're ahead of schedule here. Let's get something in and give him that extra help. So he's got to get, I think, in the next 4 games, at least 7 points. I think, and I'm thinking Bournemouth and Wolves are most likely wins.
Yep.
Maybe get a draw somewhere else. But tonight they had to win that. But
for sure.
I also want to point out about the system you mentioned, the previous person. We talked about it's 5 back. Have you noticed for a 5 at the back, Bala was really far forward for that goal.
It looks nice once he's really far forward. And last week too, even though he didn't win, he was in the box half the game.
I don't call it a 5 at the back system where my wing back or left back is flying as your box to play on an assist. But yeah, it's one of the.
Not to mention Ahmad. I mean, Ahmad spends the entire game up in the as the most forward player. You know,
I thought Ahmad. You know, with certain games you're watching, like they earn a goal or assist. He earned that, so he's really lively tonight, more aggressive. But it's always funny with systems. When United win a game, it's a 3 at the back. When they lose it, it's 5.
Yeah,
it is. I think But I thought, well done, Amrin. You got a reaction second half. Still disappointing to see Shane Lacey. I thought Yoro was really good when he came on. Martinez was good when he came on. Mane was good when he came. But they're confident. They're a confidence team. When they get 2 goals ahead, watch them rip teams apart. When they go 1-0 down, they fall apart. More often than not. They need to get wins. And need to just. That was a good reaction after a negative blow. Next is Bournemouth. If they beat Bournemouth, then you can really start getting excited. And I think
I think you'll start feeling a lot better after that.
That's a good follow-up to the Wolves game.
Yep.
But yeah,
exactly. Right on, Maddie. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for everybody speaking there. Thank you for everybody hanging out today. Thank you for everybody who joined the watch alongs and videos and all that. I appreciate you all. I'll be back tomorrow. That'll do it for today. But yeah, like I say every week on this, don't get too excited. Don't get too down. This is who we are. Let's see what the next game takes for us. I think it'll be, as Maddie was saying there, I do think it'll be big to look at Bournemouth. Can we start to be that team where we more consistently beat the guys we're supposed to? Because that's how we're going to start to separate ourselves from the pack a little bit. And we need it. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the day. Glad we got a win, and I will catch you all later. Have a good one, guys. Good night. Thanks for being here, and make sure to drop a like on the video as you leave. It does help me quite a lot. So thank you for that. But I appreciate everybody here, and enjoy the rest of your night and week. Okay. See you later, guys. And thanks for all the donations, subs, all of that as well. See you later, guys.